I like this. Zay, you got great taste. Everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield and I'm a professional dance choreographer and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and we are here taking a look at HeeJin's track video game. We have a dance practice and a live performance of this. I have not seen HeeJin or the group Artemis, I think is the name of the group. I don't think I've seen any material from this particular group or person at all, but I'm excited for it because it is a Patreon request as well. Shout out to Zay for the request. It is a flip side request, which also means I get to do a just take, so I have no idea what I'm going to be getting myself into, but I'm here for it. It's going to be a great time. Let's go ahead and check it out. I like that. Yeah. I like her pants too. Nice. Yay! I like this. Zay, you got great taste. I'm excited to learn that. That looks cool. Nice. This feels like a similar vein as Left Right by XG because of the little bubble sound in the back. Do you know what I mean? I love it. That's probably why I like it, because Left Right's a really dope track too. Yeah. 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 I like that retro sound in the back. That was really nice. Yeah, no, I get it. Okay, here we go. We have a performance showcase version. Ooh! Baby, you wanna play? 자극적인 날 원해 매일 똑같은 게임. 잠깐 다른 상상들을 해. Baby, 원한다면 say. Follow what I do. 지루하기만 해. 노래들은 그거 부드럽게만 해. 규칙들은 이거. Oh, can you handle me? 따라잡아 너는 crazy. You can ride on me. drum and bass on that, yeah. 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 I like the structure of the choreo very much. Is there some unison, like a lot of unison? Yes, but they're very clean. And some of the choices are, like the syncopation, it's just nice, it's satisfying. Does that make sense? It's just interesting enough that it doesn't feel boring, right? I like it. Yeah. Na, na, na. Yeah. Now this move right here, I do know we did go from like a is it like a butterfly, but then we turn it into a guada guada. I like that because I know in Easy by Le Seraphim, that's cool. We're here for it. Love it. So with like Le Seraphim's Easy, they do a butterfly on two sides. I like what she did where it was a butterfly and then it turned into a guada guada. Woo, we're here for it. Okay, from the top, we're here, ready to go. I love this one. This is cool, subtlety. So we have our feature, I'm assuming this is HeeJin because she's the one in the center for the majority of it, would make sense. I like how, you know, everyone is really nice and still and she ends up transitioning all the way through, makes it a fun, subtle moment, establishes tone. It's a little bubble sound, like the bubble sound does remind me of left right. I would say dee 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 dee. Like all of these things, it kind of feels like little hybrids of different tracks that I've heard, but it could be because of just a mix of a couple different factors. None of it is a plagiarism thing. Please do not take my words for that. It's mostly just the vibe and overall niche of what it is. The reason why the choreography is fitting to it is because a lot of the texture choices match the timbre or the sound context that we're hearing. So the little bubble sound, it definitely feels a little bit more. It doesn't feel like super grounded. It feels slinky, it feels smooth, it feels like we're you know, not tropical, but we're it's like a relaxing kind of genre niche of track syncopation in the sense of like isolations, but not going so, there's not like heavy bass in it. And there's the genre of the percussion is drum and bass, but I think there's subgenres within that, right? I'm learning all of these different subgenres of different types of music, so it helps me be able to itemize what movement qualities a lot of times go well with certain genres and why. So because for the drum and bass, I think this would fall along the lines of potentially being like more liquid, I think is what it's called, but I digress. And with liquid, you have like waving, which is smooth, and so maybe having some smooth grooves can really help equate to that. So we're gonna go off of that today, but you can fact check me, please do, go be curious about this stuff. But I love this little boom, 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 and from here, she just does a simple walk, they all go. Notice that they're pulling from the sternum as they melt and slide that leg in. We're here for it. They transition over, walking on tempo. I'm such a fan of it, always a fan of it. And she goes and sets up nice and low, and she ends up finishing at the tail end of her routine by herself though. So it's really cool having that type of overlap. Dancers have a nice melt once again. It does feel like we're underwater almost, which I think is super cool. The melty melts are nice. Boom, boom. Nice on the bass, cool. They go, they reset, we're here for it. Everyone makes subtly different choices, but they're using their hands to help create, like no one's making too much of an extroverted hand choice. It's very internal in how they're posing. And I like for her with HeeJin, she has more of a conversational, I'm resting my hand on one knee and then I'm placing it on my head so it has a place to rest. We're here for it. And having everybody have their head looking subtly to where she is nice. They go bass. It's like a call and response. She's going on the lyrics, they're going on the bass. So it's polyrhythms through distribution. We love it. Hitting it through da da. That was mirrored, meaning that you have it's like there's a mirror in the center. So whatever this group does and what this group does, they're going to do the opposite of it in order for it to create a really fun visual to showcase your feature in an interesting way outside of everybody doing the exact same thing and her being an outlier in that. There's many different ways you can utilize a toolkit, a choreography toolkit. And that's a really cool dynamic to always use. And it's just always interesting because it provides a subtlety and complexity as well, which is nice. Then that boom, boom. I like the fact they went bass, bass on the torso. Not really, I don't think they did a ball change. They stepped, boom, they took that hinge and they rocked it forward and then they reset it back. You have to use the core to create some staccato element within that, because if it was too legato, then it wouldn't really feel, what's the word? It wouldn't feel sharp, or it wouldn't feel justified on that bass, right? Because the bass has a very distinct sound. And so you want to have distinct movement to help with recognizing it in physical movement. Cool. She comes in. I love that. They go boom, boom. They drop down. She comes up. Their little da-na-na-na-na. Nice. And they go. They look. They subtly pull up. I love this with the melts with the body roll. And they take the arms and trace it. One arm behind, one in front. And that was a really fun moment that they did there. They take the leg and they go and turn. Placing the weight on, equally distributing it between the leg that's straight and the leg that is bent, and you are kind of taking that knee and pulling and rotating it. I love that, because if you had all of your weight on the standing leg or on the straight leg, then that swivel happening with the knee wouldn't feel so, what's the word, grounded. And I think that's what you want to have on some of these movements, is you want them to have some sense of legato, but groundedness, because you have a bass in play a lot of times, and a bass is on that lower foundational side of music a lot of times. And so having that recognized is something that you want to have. You want to have weightiness in your choreo when you have basses involved. So I like the hit through, boom, really fun, interesting transition. And I think that's why for me, some of the unison is fine, because we have a lot of interesting transition choices that don't feel like we're transitioning. And so what I mean by that is getting from point A to point B, or when you see a group of dancers be in a particular formation, which is what we see here, and then they do movement to get from point A to point B, that can be all the same, or they all peel off, and there's other dynamics that come in play for that. And so what I like about the transitions is the fact that they don't feel like, okay, I'm walking to my next spot. It's not disconnecting me from the tone in which has been set and established. So that's a really good movement direction choice. So they go do, do, do. So she's stalling out by repeating. And so they are all creating more of the type of texture that looks like a human is stalling if you would record them on camera. And the camera doesn't start glitching, but it starts, you know, cutting back, if that makes sense. And that's kind of why that type of texture works well for that sound, is because it comes across in that way. And our visuals, they go and walk away. We have two other dancers that go da na na. So we go and place that weight more forward. We come up, we throw, there's that crash, but notice there's an echo that lingers. So having this movement linger matches that part of the music very well. Little kick, da da da. Nice little fold over with the wrist. Take the hand by the ear. We're here for it. Da da da. We go and we pull. I like that with the pull with the shoulder, and allows this nice little curve to take place with the torso, which is what we're here for. They go knee to up, and then we take in and branch it over to the other side. Da 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 da. Nice little head to get them over. Notice with our group of three, including HeeJin, I don't think they're doing the same thing, but I like how they come in with the head to make it feel very conversational in the add-in. Very nice. Organic. And they're doing mirror too, so it definitely feels like, hey, you called us over, dee dee dee, boom, and over. So it's a really nice like puzzle piece, but it's still complementary. Even though they're not doing the exact same thing, they're mirroring it. And then you have your next group come in, they do a little head too, and then we have a really nice formation, having HeeJin in center, and then having just baby diagonals, and then your group in the back. We love it. This little, you want to ride with me, because it's you're driving a car, and then we hit it and like the little pickups of the feet. We're here for it, and it's a little swivel when you pick them up and rotate them around. She speeds it up, me. So they picked up the pace on the legs, and that does feel like we're building, because even though the tempo's the same, we have more content that's being utilized in the sequences, and we're double timing in lyricism too. Yeah, pinning through, boom. I like how you place weight on that foot, and then you do a nice, not really, I think, yeah, you call it a pivot turn. I like that, looks cool. Then we melt, done. And notice that we didn't have like a really strong defined finish because we go and we bleed over into a really nice dainty section that does feel a smidgen like, are we building to a course? Things like that. And I think it's fine that we are taking this direction. It's a different tone that's established in this phrasing. And so it goes to something very la la la, nothing defined, and so you don't want to have super defined movement whenever we have something really soft. And so that's exactly why with the turn, they just immediately start melting through it, which I really like that. Like, I love the fact that you can very clearly see that there was intention in our choreography choices, in our textures, to match how the music sounds and how it feels to us when we hear it, right? And so I'm really big shout out to the movement director for that. We're here for it. Love it. Da-na-na-na-na. Nice. So she had a defined syllable at the end. Boom. And so they have a defined finish right there, framing her, making it more like a parentheses formation or a circular formation. She's still in the center. They rotated in. I like this from here. So she's setting up over on the side. No one is directly side except for her. Everyone is at least diagonal, which really works because they are about to start rotating the formation. And so it's going to provide a different visual, even though it's still half her here. I love that. And then we go kick, 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 kick. Nice. And right how she is saying it. We love it. And then they make it a little bit more full. Everybody takes that arm up. Ding, ding, ding. I love that there. Click, 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 click. A lot of these switches. And you can mess up the order if you're not mindful or intentional with it. So we see the thoroughness of rehearsal to make sure that we get the order between bringing the leg in, bringing that torso up, things like that. And then we're going right into a camel walk. But it's such a sticky camel walk. It's not groovy. It doesn't derive from, it's not like the James Brown camel walk that we all know and love. I really like this one because it matches how she's saying it. This is not a funk track. And so taking movements that you would normally see in funk style, but having them applied in this way, you change the texture to make it more fitting in the hybrid. And that's exactly what you see. Click, click, click. They even go so far as to isolate from the head, snaking it through. We love it. And then we come back in and we go immediately into the two diagonals. Now, right here is a smidgen difficult to see her in comparison to other spots. Normally you would see somebody kind of be like right there, but because you can still clock her, I think it's fine. So you have everybody going, you have this group going this direction, this group going this direction, and then she is in your center looking front. No one is looking front except for her. Very easy for us to keep her checked as our feature, because I say this very often, just because you're in the front and center position does not mean I'm going to watch you. And that's what makes feature finding very enjoyable, because there can be such a creative way of expressing and showcasing features without having to put them in predictable spots. So whenever you see heads, when you see them utilized to the front, that's a psychological thing of, if they're looking at me, I naturally want to look at them. And so that's why she's the only one looking at us. She's the one we naturally want to look at as a result. So that's cool. I love the intention of the dancers not looking front. Specifically my dancer right here, she is the highest risk of looking front, but she's looking straight in the middle, which is nice. And then they have their arms crossed. We're here for it. And then you have HeeJin. She's also deviating by having a different type of posture. She's not crossed. She's more conversational. We like it. And because she's wearing a similar fit to literally so many other people in this dance practice, it makes it more enjoyable, and it makes it easier for us to know if she's being properly featured, because I don't know her. You know what I mean? And so I don't have any of that going in and working for me. And she's not wearing anything. There's not like a black and white contrast going on either. So there's no costuming that's helping us naturally find her. So I really like the fact that we're able to appreciate what we're seeing in the choreography, because she's being featured very well, and there's no costume to help. There's no lighting to help with that. It's just choreo and good vibes. We love it. We love it. The knee accent is nice. It does tie into that final course that we end up seeing. So I like that. Rotating the head over. She goes dance and stand. I like the fullness of, she's leaving her body behind to let those legs really create a direction where she needs to go. I love the opposition. A lot of times that's always a note that I give to a lot of people who dance and sing, is that the first thing that we want to restrict is this in our torso. And it makes sense, because if you're singing, this is something that you want to make not so physically manipulated, because you want to be able to sing, right? And have as much confidence as possible to do that. And so having these little tension pulls, I always appreciate when I see in a K-pop context or a C-pop or any pop where you sing and dance, because that means that we're trying to train our body to build up the stamina to be able to stay stable vocally, but also appreciate the integrity of some of the intention maybe the choreographer has in how they want the transition to look. I love that. We're here for it. I love that right here. Bringing it over. I love that choice where we take the arms and we're allowing the sternum to pull us so the head has a little, it's getting left behind and being dragged down. That's cool. And then from there, ba-da-da, right there on the syllables, she comes up using the core to make sure that we have that stiffness to come up from here. Double it up, ding, and double up. Now, we've already kind of seen this move earlier in the group of 3 with HeeJin, but it does look different because we're in a different formation. Also, we're all facing front, which is what we did see, but we have numbers on our side, but also we're hitting it on a boom, boom, over. We're doubling it, which is also really nice in a different part of the beginning of our sequence. Yep, it goes da-na, ba-na-na. We take it out, and then we're about to take our range, rotating it through, and then we do a nice little push, intention with the hand. We don't have stylized hands. It's nice in a blade. We bring it over, and notice that some of us clocked a baby head ISO on that. I'm a fan of it. I may end up having to do a head ISO on that, just a creature of habit over here. I like the subtlety of this, and it does look like our dancers let the head go. Let's see, though. They did! I love that. She did not because she's singing, so it makes sense why this would just not be practical, especially whenever you know that she's having to maintain and showcase endurance and all of that and other elements. So this makes sense why she's not, but it keeps her clocked as our feature when we're doing unison, which is nice. And then from there, she goes over, dee-dee-dee, we kick that leg out, and then we switch, and we come up. Now, this little setup, I'm used to seeing in Boogaloo or in popping, and so I like the fact that we're seeing it, but it's just more of body placement. It's not really texturized in any way, shape, or form, but more of a dynamic because it's going on whole counts, which I think is totally fine. We like it. And we come up, and then from here, we double it up, boom, boom, and I think we end up repeating the same thing, but I think we do the opposite side, which I like. It's a drill format, and then from there we end up making it a little bit more legato, a little bit more tense, which I really like, more grounded, because we're adding some weight to that front leg and we're creating our range on our arms. It makes it feel like we're being intentional about dig down on it, which is really nice. We're here for it. We take it up. I love this. I see a lot of this in whacking a lot of times, and I also have seen that in locking. I'm just going to consider this not in reference to either of those styles because there's no other context that provides us for that justification of essence, because their postures don't equate to that either. So we're just going to take it as they're taking their arm. They're letting the elbow provide the direction for it, and then it's kind of like we're throwing a fishing rod, a fishing pole, right? Is what that move comes in. You take this arm, it's more of a fixed point, so it provides a landing point for the arm that you just threw, if that makes sense. So that's cool. I like the little pop coming out of that. Not really a pop, but a little hop is what I meant. Cool. And then we go, na. We double up that second one. We take it, subtle transition. I really like the fact our transitions are not just walking. We are doing movement. We are doing content. We're doing something that frames well. It looks good when you stand and do it by yourself, but I like that we're making the risk-taking of making and providing subtle transition choices. It's really fun, and it keeps you captivated and intrigued on what's going on, and it leads you digesting the content in a good way. It's not going to lead you with indigestion, if that makes sense. Cool. I like this part. Boom, da-na, da-na, na-na. It's such a thing in my head. I'm really excited to learn this part. That looks really cool. Ooh, yeah, da-da-da-da. And they change it. And I think she's saying something change at that point, which is cool. And then we rotate it. So we take it, they're separated, and then we connect them, and then we connect. So we're going from big to medium to small. I love that. That's cool. And then right here it goes over, I think, are they doing a true butterfly? Yeah, it kind of does look like that. Boom, butterfly into a guada guada, but it's not an afro posture of it. We're just maintaining that tense, like the butterfly smooth groundedness into a little guada guada. And that's why it looks similar. It's because you're kind of taking, you can have different words, but they're in the same font and they can kind of look similar, like night and night. Yeah, that makes sense. One has a K, one has an N, but if you put them in the same font, it can be a little bit tricky to kind of know the difference, if that makes sense. Or not and night, where you change like one letter. I hope I'm making sense with what I'm saying. So in this reference here, these are two different words or different movements, but they're put in the same font. And so texture. And so you have the butterfly and then right there into the guada guada. And that's why it feels similar, but it does have something different or a nice little surprise in it. It's cool. And then we go to the other side. Boom. Ooh. Rhythm change. I think we do a little head nod there too. And we've trickling in. I think, yep, right, really nice. And then we do the same thing. And we do it to both sides. So I like the fact this is considered, I would call it a drill choreo. So a lot of the setups of it is, it's the same movement, but you set it up on the opposite sides. So if we go boom, da-da, da-da-da-da, to here, all of this, to the butterfly, to the guada guada, and then you do the same thing, but you rotate the other way. So it's good for your brain, and it's good for dancers in general when you take class and you're doing drills or you're learning technique to learn it on both sides, because a lot of times people will only want to train their good side, and you're going to create an imbalance that way. Both when you learn choreography and whenever you freestyle or just in movement quality in general, it's the same thing as if you go to the gym and you only work out one side and you never work out the other because this side's stronger. It's going to lead to a serious imbalance that can be dangerous for you long term, specifically how elite you go within that particular practice. So that's why I like choreographies like this, because people who learn it, myself included, you're going to naturally get the choreo, or you're going to get these grooves and these posture choices and textures applied to both sides. So it's going to allow your body to appreciate and receive it and make you a more balanced dancer out of it too. Now there's some choreographies that are not meant that way, and that's fine. I like seeing choreographies that way because I can totally recommend this one to my own students and say, hey, if you like butterfly, the butterfly from old school hip hop, and you want to kind of apply it in a choreography format, this is a really cool way to dive into a texture but have some overlap in terminology that your body's been exposed to, if that makes sense. There's beauty in all of it in the industry. We'd love to celebrate it. Cool. Turning it through. I like that part. Now this here, this is the drum and bass. DMB, I think is what it's called, right? And it gives the liquid vet because it does remind you of Super Shy, right? And Super Shy by NewJeans is considered a liquid drum and bass style track. And it also, I use the analogy, it reminds me of the Powerpuff Girls. Dun, 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 dun. That, it just gives off that energy. We're here for it. And I know with NewJeans, oh my God, I'd never, I know it's weird that I'm making it like a connection for NewJeans on a HeeJin track. My apologies. It's blame the drum and bass. NewJeans, their icons, Powerpuff Girls, isn't it? That makes so much sense why they would make that. They would go with the drum and bass liquid style because of the theme song, and it promotes nostalgia and familiarity. God, I love music so much. Okay, cool. If you didn't want to know that, now you know it, whether or not you wanted to. So anyway, I digress. Here we go. I like this right here. It's turning into a broken down. So it's the opposite of an add-on. It's like not a breakdown, but it's a reverse add-on. So what's happening is everybody's doing it, and then you have one person break away, and they hold a particular position that was in the sequence. So I really like that. Then you have your group of three. The tricky part about it is as you are transitioning or getting people spaced out, you don't want your group to look muddled at any point. You want it to make sense. You want it to be clear, even though it's still technically a transition. Transitions deserve some respect in the focal points, just like other choreography elements as well. But I like the breakaways. Yeah, all of this here done into a little body roll coming up, the rotation around. These are some awkward, not really awkward poses, but these are a little bit harder to make look as distinct as some other choices, but it looks fine. I like it. And then the commitment over to the side. She goes over, da-da-da. Really nice. I love the throws and throws. Boom. Yeah, and then we have a little body roll, or not body roll, we have a little chest rotation, bringing it through. I love that. It does feel like a baby shamrock kind of setup. Yeah, like a shamrock setup. We like that. And then from here, I really like taking our energy. Oh, what's the name of, the name of that move. Hold on. The move is called, how I learned it, is called Do the 40s, which is you take your knees and you swing from side to side, and which is the move that you see right here. So which is another like old school hip hop move, which I really like. So once again, we're noticing we have some hip hop party move integration, but it's in the drum and bass, like that's a natural kind of percussion that you would normally be introduced to for hip hop a lot of times. Of course, there's other things that would go on at that. You know, like there's so many different things, but I digress. My point being, like, it makes sense why we have the moves that we do, and they're texturized, or their fonts have changed because of just the subgenre, right? So it kind of feels like we have a subgenre of hip hop move integration through the use of textures. We love it. I like that. Ding, 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 ding. And so we're taking our arm. We go from low, medium, and high. We love that. And we go Nice, turning it through. We go ba ba ch. Great level choice. We have 2 of our dancers framing HeeJin, and then you have 4 that are framing on the outside, but notice that they are all a bit angled to the inside, which I really like because it keeps her naturally featured as a feature. I will say a little in general note, it could just be this run through. My girl right here, I think she either needs to scoot back or this girl needs to scoot forward. I would just go with this one needs to scoot forward because it looks a little bit off, and you can tell because of depth and where their feet are clocked as well. So there's that. It's so subtle though. I like the pull through, and then we kind of dig and we go a little bit deeper from our standing dancers, boom and down. Really love that. And then take our weight, na na na. We go from high to low, and they go da da ch, boom, and they look to her, which is really nice. They come up, ooh, super smooth with the come up, and then you have your mirrors in your standing dancers. They mirror to their spot, so that's why it feels like a really clean transition, because it is. And I like the switch here, dee 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 dee, oof. I like the double time, dee 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 dee, and then we take our arms and we're going to throw it through, do do do. Notice that is going on. The tempo is still the same. It just feels like we've gone faster because there's a new sound introduced that's in double time. And so I like that. And our content has also double timed. So that's why we feel the relationship of the movement to music match very well, is because of that. But also it feels like we're building, we're promoting and projecting more energy because of that as well. Cool. I like the throw there. There's that tension, but we now have more people instead of just the small group, which did this before, because I made the note of this was residual because of the sound was lingering, and so you have to linger the movement. I like the tension there, boom, and I like the chest being introduced into it too. I'm definitely a fan of that. And then you go cross, cross, and we step, little pivot turn once again. Done, and we invert the knees on that. Love, donna, it's dainty once again. But everyone's facing the front instead of in the circle, so that's why this feels different, but it's the same choreo. Movement director, whoever was in charge of the formations and the transitions, keep them around. This was fantastic. Content, a lot of times you have people that are known for the auditing process. So I call those people cleaners or the performance directors, and sometimes they also are the choreographers, and the choreographer puts this, you know, just the base. They do the content, and a lot of times they do the formations, but then you also have somebody else that can come in and audit it to make it calibrate specifically to the artist, because they work with the artist in the day-to-day, if that kind of makes sense. And I like that. I like the beauty of all of it. They're rotating it through. I like that. We have some subtlety happening from HeeJin there. She does a little kick to get everybody reset, and then they do a nice little add-on on that, and they join back in. They camel walk. And instead of doing the 2 diagonals with her hanging out over here, she's now an outlier over on stage left. We have 2 diagonals still happening, but it's still in a V, which is what they had. She's broken away from this middle or of the line 2, and she has her own little lane over here. I like it. And her spacing, what makes it work is the spacing between her and the dancers is the dancers with themselves. So I like that. It's cool. We're here for it. A little subtlety there with the head nods. I love that choice. She goes and steps out once again. And this part does feel the same. Why? It's the same formation. So that's the first time you've really seen the formation be the same with the content. We've always either seen, like, the content's been pretty much the same, especially on that pre-chorus. It's just a different formation, so it feels different. This feels familiar because it is, because we've already seen it. Push through is fine. Love that. Same format. Na, 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 na. And I think this is a subtle change, potentially. Yeah, that's a little bit different. There into the V, inverted V. Yep, da, na, na, na. So this could be a little bit more spread out, maybe, but it's the same choreo, which is fine. And this is going to be your challenge, right? This chorus. So it makes sense why you want to kind of showcase this a little bit more, because it gives people more the opportunity to see it and replicate it. Na, na, na. Ooh, ooh, that's like video games. She turns, they all walk away. I like that she gets to have her own moment. And they set up in the columns. And notice what happened. So they set up first, they ended up setting up, and then this group moved over to calibrate to this group. So that could be one of two things. Firstly, it's somebody was established or given the role to set up the formation, which could be originating from the side, and they are the ones that are just kind of calibrating to that. Or it's they remembered where they're supposed to set up and they forgot, and they just made sure they modified it. So I don't know, one of the two options, but I like the fact that that's dancer communication through sight, and you learn a lot, and you can use your peripherals to make sure you're in the right place where you need to be, so we can appreciate what's going on in the formation. Because also remember, this is considered a fixed cam, so they had to most likely adjust the formation slightly to make sure it matches the space that they're in. So that's probably what this little subtle communication through body movement or transition happens. So watch again. So they go first, boom. Yeah, so two of them ended up having to step in. My girl back here was already in line because my other girl was already in her spot. Cool, we're here for it, love it. She's having her moment back here. Walk and walk, yes, boom, in your columns, and then we go and spread out. Nice, spread out, and then we slide in, and that was a nice little subtle reveal of your back row. We like it. Back to your V. Now this is a new choreo, so it goes down, boom, boom. It's similar to this one, but it's fuller because you have a foot involved, a leg involved now. So she hits it through, don't stop, throw. It's similar to that little boogaloo popping sequence that I had talked about before. I think it's similar to a walkout is what I've seen something like that come across as, but it's not texturized that way nor stylized that way. And you get through, boom, nice with the body roll. Yep. The subtlety with the shoulders to provide a little slide back. Then we drop it down. That goes right there on the that we heard earlier. Little stop, little horn being pumped, similar to driving. We already have that imagery already in our head, so this complements that to us because it was in similar format too, which is nice. Doubling it up. And this is the same as what we've already kind of seen from the other courses, but it was a different setup in the last course. That right there, nice, bum bum. I like this. Now notice, so we already saw this little accent with the knees before, but it's nice to see it rotated with the hinge. And it's sticky too, so it's done, da-dun, da-da-da-da. Very clear on what we're hitting. It's not boom, doo-doo, doo. It's not accented, it's its own moment, which is cool. And we take it through, nice little head ice over to the side, butterfly, and guada, guada, boom, doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo, ba-bum, doom, boom. Yeah, cool. And then we go, click, 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 and then we drop it down, head, and then we bring it through. She stays where she is. Everybody goes boom, and then that was a nice little effect to get them to go off stage. They're staying on tempo. She goes, she takes her arms, traces them down to allow her body to go to the floor, and she finishes boom. Like we've kind of powered off our video game, right? So I like that. And then of course, have a fun little moment where she's like, yep. That's me. Totally get that. I really, really enjoyed this, and I loved being able to uncover the beauty of the power of transitions and really taking care of them because it enhances so many other elements of your choreo that way. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Zay, for the request. I enjoyed this, and I'm glad that we ended up taking a look at this one for the reasons that you said, that it's definitely that nice little niche vibe that you wanted me to tackle, which I think is super cool. I'm looking forward to learning this. Whenever this goes live on YouTube, the Just Take will also go live at the same time, so you'll be able to see both. But at this point in time, this was the first time I saw it, so I can't wait to look at it. If you want to see more just content in general, I have a lot of it on YouTube, but I always have around 3 to 5 times more pieces of material that gets released on Patreon every day in comparison to what comes out on YouTube. So if you're like, Jess, I want to see more of various contents, I have a lot of K-pop marathons of groups that I've tackled before, as well as just miscellaneous postings depending on the requests a lot of times, and it's just all really, really fun. Once again, my name is Jess, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye.